In this video, I want to share with you about distributive property. We are going to be using this when we're working with polynomials and also when we're simplifying expressions. And so this is important to know, and that's where I'm going to go over a few examples with you. So distributive property basically states that if you have, say, a number, I'll just make something up. So 4 times the quantity of 3 plus 6, that's going to be equal to 4 times 3 plus 4 times 6. And so what we've essentially done here is we've taken this 4, or this factor, and we've multiplied it to each part within the grouping symbols. And the nice thing about this property is that if you have an expression with parentheses, you can use distributive property to kind of get rid of those parentheses or those grouping symbols. You know, it looks like we've got parentheses here, but really this is indicating multiplication. You know, this is 4 times 3, which is 12. This is 4 times 6, which is 24. And so, you know, we've gotten to the point where we're no longer working with parentheses, and that's really handy when you're trying to simplify expressions. So just to show that this part is going to be equal to this part, I'll go ahead and finish this off. This is going to equal 36. Okay, if we followed order of operations, this would be 9, so 4 times 9 is also 36. So, you know, you can see that, you know, this expression can be rewritten. You're eliminating, or you're getting rid of those parentheses, and then we can do some work. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of problems where we're going to simplify expressions. And if you're not sure about simplifying expressions, review the video on simplifying expressions, and that will go through that process with you. But let's go ahead and go through a couple of examples. Let's say we have 4x, and we're going to subtract from that 3 times the quantity of x plus 9, and we're going to add to that 10. Okay? Now, in that last video, I talked about looking at the terms and combining similar terms or like terms. And in this case, we've got terms with a coefficient with a variable. We've got a number, a variable, and then a couple of more numbers. Now, these variables look like they have the same exponent, which would be 1 in this case. But we can't really take this x and put it over here with this 4x because this x is part of this quantity. So we're going to use distributive property to basically get rid of those grouping symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the 4x, and then instead I'm going to break it up like I did over here. I'm going to take this -3 and multiply it to the x, and then add, and then multiply it to the 9. So we're going to have -3 times x, which would be -3x, and then -3 times a positive 9, that's going to give us a -27. So again, -3x times x is going to give us this part, and then -3 times a positive 9 gives us this part here. Now we've eliminated those parentheses, and you're going to see that we're going to be able to combine like terms a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and bring down the 10. So now it looks like these two parts here, a positive 4x and a -3x, those are like terms. And then we've got the -27 and the positive 10. So I don't really even need to rewrite it because they're already kind of grouped together. So 4x minus 3x is going to give me 1x, or x. Okay, and then I've got -27 plus 10, so that's going to be a -17. Okay, notice I can't combine them anymore because this is a variable, this one doesn't have a variable, so that would be my simplified expression of this much larger expression. Let's look at another another one where we're using distributive property. Let's say we have 3y minus 5 times the quantity of y minus 9. Okay, 3y minus 5 times the quantity of y minus 9. Okay, looks like we've got a y, variables y, and then some numbers. But I need to break this up. So again, I'm going to take this negative 5, multiply it to each part within the parentheses, and rewrite it. So I'm going to first rewrite the 3y, and then I'm going to distribute. So negative 5 times y is negative 5y. Negative 5 times negative 9 is a positive 45. So if you're a little fuzzy on the multiplication rules with integers, go back and review one of those videos, and that will help you out. Now we can combine like terms, because here I have a 3y and a negative 5y. Those are similar terms, so I'm going to combine them, and I'm going to get a negative 2y, and then I have my 45. So this would be the simplified expression of this much larger expression here. Now in both of these cases I was multiplying by a negative factor. Let's do one where we have a positive, and so let me make one up. Let's say we have let's say 10 plus 4 times the quantity of x minus y. Okay, and we'll just leave it at that. So again, I want to go ahead and let's see, break up this. So we're going to use distributive property. So 10 plus, and this is going to be 4x, and then positive 4 times negative y would be a negative 4y. Now notice that we don't have any like terms here. We've kind of, even though we've broken it up, we're kind of at an end point. We can't combine the 10 and with the 4x or the 4y, because those variables are different, and this one doesn't even have a variable. So that would be that. Okay, so those are just a few examples of distributive property. You'll definitely see a lot more of this, especially when we're talking about addition and subtraction of polynomials, which is coming up very, very soon.